What's up guys? Last Friday, Apple shipped the iPhones to the people that pre-order and made it available for purchase to everyone. However, what got me thinking is what Apple wrote in the email: the fastest chip ever in a smartphone. We know that the A13 is indeed the fastest one in the iPhone, but does it perform the same or better than the iPhone 11 Pro Max with the same chip? Let's start with the specs to see what we are looking at. Both devices have the A13 Bionic chip, which was first seen in the iPhone 11, 11 Pro series late last year. But the iPhone SE has only 3 GB of RAM compared to the iPhone 11 Pro Max's 4 GB of RAM. This will definitely play a big role in the speeds, but let's see how much it really affects the performance. Of course, the other factors don't really matter. My two devices have different storage options, different displays, and different features, but we will be purely looking at the aspect of performance, so these don't really matter. Before we do the test, I am running both devices on the latest beta of iOS 13.4.5, and they have the same build number as well as the same modem firmware, so keep that in mind. We will be testing the devices in 3 categories: benchmarks using Geek Bench, actual usage and how it feels, and video processing because both phones have the same GPU. So over in Geek Bench, we can really see that we're running the same processors, so all of this is really important here. Now, the results are very interesting. The iPhone 11 Pro Max has an average single score of 1330, and the iPhone SE has an average of the CPU processing of 1320. So the average here is very similar on both iPhones. However, what is surprising is on the multi-scores. So for example, the iPhone 11 Pro has about 3,450 average out of the 3 tests I ran, and the iPhone SE has about a 2,600 average from the 3 tests I ran here. So this is really interesting to see. The single-core score on the iPhone SE and 11 Pro Max were very similar, except when it came to multi-core performance. The best explanation would probably be heat management. The surface of the iPhone SE isn't that big as the one of the 11 Pro Max, so maybe Apple had to reduce the peak speeds to manage this issue. When testing the GPU, we can see that the results are really interesting as well. The iPhone 11 Pro Max averages around 6,300 in the score based on the 3 tests I ran, and on the iPhone SE, the average is around 6,200. So again, the iPhone 11 Pro Max is winning here. By combining both results, of course the iPhone 11 Pro Max comes on top, but by only a few percent. So you are essentially paying 70% more for the 11 Pro Max and getting only a few percent more in performance. Further, if you remember, the iPhone 11 Pro Max has an extra gigabyte of RAM, which probably explains the slightly higher performance. The next test is the day-to-day usage. When using both phones, I didn't really notice a significant difference, but the only reason why I would say the SE is a little slower is because it still uses the interface that really includes the home button. The differences have nothing to do with the processor or the hardware, it's just the user. I am so used to Face ID and swiping up that the home button just slows me down in many tasks. Another test is with video editing directly on your device. I took a 3-minute video at 4K 60 frames per second on both devices. The goal here was to cut the video in half and export it as a new clip. The iPhone 11 Pro Max processed the video in approximately 10 seconds compared to the iPhone SE that processed it in about 19 seconds. So you can definitely see that the iPhone 11 Pro Max has faster processing here compared to the iPhone SE. Alright, these are the speed tests that I feel like are the most important for anyone. I was really surprised about the difference in speeds of these two devices. They are running the same processor, which to me sounded like the exact same performance. Except then, if you take into account that the iPhone SE is missing 1 GB of RAM and is probably running slower to reduce the heat. Either way, we can see that having the same processor doesn't mean that the performance will be exactly the same. Well, the price is only $400, which makes it a very competitive iPhone that many people will find worthy to upgrade to. Of course, the performance is not going to be the same as on the iPhone 11 Pro Max, but for day-to-day activities, the iPhone SE works perfectly. If you enjoyed this video, then please leave a like, subscribe, and hit the bell to stay notified when I release my next video. Follow me over on Twitter for more recent updates and some fun stuff. Also, if you missed my previous video, then please click the card shown up here. Okay, take care, and I'll see you in my next video.